All right, hi class. So this video is going to talk to you about a couple things really. I want to get to using research in your writing and specifically what kind of research you're going to need to do for this paper. I'm asking you to use specific sources that are available through the DVC library website, and so I'll show you that in this video. And I also just want to cover a couple of other things first. So I am going to be demonstrating with the paper that I'm writing here, which is similar to what I covered in my discussion post from Monday. So I want to cover more broadly beyond the idea of Pete Buttigieg. I want to cover politicians and police shootings, and I phrase that into a question because I find that helpful. How should politicians respond to police shootings of African Americans in their communities? That's kind of the question here. What he's Pete Buttigieg is getting a lot of uh, there's a lot of controversy, and that kind of raises the question for me: what would be a better way for him to respond? Um, then most people are agreeing it's not going well for him in the way he is responding. So what could he do better? Um, that's the question. And so the requirements of the essay require at least one more sort of neutral article. And the three articles, or the two articles that or rather the four articles that I looked at on Monday, while they're from different parts of the political spectrum, were actually kind of neutral articles because they were not they were presenting both sides. They or there's more than one side. Let's say more than two sides. We'll say presenting multiple sides and not sort of not making an argument explicitly. Now, I pointed out that I thought there was some implicit argument, but there weren't really expressing an opinion explicitly. So those were all kind of neutral. You could argue that a little bit, but the most neutral and the most complete to me was this New York Times article. So that's the one I want to use. I then went out to find out more opinionated articles that would express an opinion. More explicitly. And you want to look for op op-eds in newspapers, editorials, and then other opinion pieces. And so let me show you a little bit about that. So I'll look at this in a minute, but let's say that you want to use a source like the New York Times, which is a little bit, we've said it's a little bit on the left. If you remember in my last video, I pointed out that this source in particular has this whole section here on the right for opinion. And you can see that up in the header too. So there's an opinion section of this, and this would be true for any major newspaper, and different kinds of sites present this differently, but you can see the opinion pages here. And so these will be more opinionated articles, and I can scroll through here, and there's also so editorials and columnists. Let's look at editorials, and in fact I can search within here, and let's see what happens if I search for Pete Buttigieg. So as you can see, the editorial, there's nothing there in the New York Times, so that's not helpful. Let's try in the op-ed columnists and see if any of the columnists. So this, you can see April 27th, 2019. So that's not relevant to me either. It's interesting. The New York Times doesn't cover this a lot, and we could think about why that might be, but that's not really important to me right now. So what I did, since this website, and there's other websites, but this is one approach, but that didn't work for me. So I went to Google News, which I find really helpful. And I want to go back and show you how I got there. It's pretty simple. I searched for Eric Logan, actually, and I was kind of interested in looking at this particular case of this person who got shot. So I wanted to look up Eric Logan and see what news stories I found on that. And on Google in particular, they will put, with news topics, they'll say top stories here, and you want to click on more. And then you'll have a whole list of stuff. And I said, view all. And then I got to this page, which was really helpful because it sort of arranges stuff in a helpful way. And I found two articles that were opinionated on this page. And you can see there's lots of resources here, and including an opinion section. And we could use this, the Buttigieg illusion. And that offers a whole lot of opinion here. I also found some other articles that I think are opinionated from the National Review and the Guardian, and I chose those. And again, going back here, those expressed an opinion, and I had to kind of read to see that. Of course, sometimes you are lucky and you get things sort of labeled very clearly for you. Like here, it says it's an opinion article, and we could read that and um, and find out what the opinion is, of course. So that's the first thing, is finding these different articles, and that's really key. Now, the other piece that's important is the research, and you'll see that the requirement for the paper is that it comes from either CQ Researcher or Gale Virtual Reference Library. And these are the specific sources I want you to use. So how do you use them? That's what I'm going to show you now. So the best way to find the DVC website is, of course, DVC library website is you can just Google it that way. And you'll get to the library homepage. Now here's the tricky part, okay? Watch carefully. You have this one search and you can enter stuff in here, but that's not going to help you find CQ Researcher and Gale Virtual Reference, which I want you to use. So for that, I want you to click here, A to Z list of databases. And you'll see when you click on there on the right side, you'll see popular databases, and you'll see CQ Researcher, and we'll open that. And then you'll also see Gale Virtual Reference Library, and we'll open that. And we'll start here. CQ Researcher is Congressional Quarterly, and you can see it explains a little bit about what it is here. And if you scan quickly, you can see that it's totally focused on controversial contemporary topics. So this is perfect for us, okay? And you can also see that these things are written pretty recently. And what you'll find if you click on anything, consumer genetic testing, you click on that, and it will give you a report that's quite long, actually. And you can see there's a whole table of contents here, and it gives you a background, and it gives you pro-con, which is kind of cool, which gives you sort of opposing points of view, so you can see opposing points of view on this topic. It also, another really helpful thing is a bibliography, and it can give you some other places to look for research if you were to do more research, which we don't need to do for right now, but you will need to do in paper 3. So just wanted to point that out. Lots of good things that you can skim through here. Now for my topic, I have to think about how to search for it. I can browse topics, and I look through here, and I look through this list. I was looking for like policing or race even, and I don't really see that, which is interesting. So I'm going to look under here, browse reports, issue tracker. So let me look there. And you'll see this is really great because it's a really long list of stuff. And I found when I scrolled way down to racism and hate, and I found one called racial conflict. And there we go. And this is you can see the date's really important, right? So this is from 2016, which is recent enough that it sort of refers to the Black Lives Matter movement, which is going to be really important for me. And you can see it says right here, it's about that. And it's talks a lot about I think it'll maybe help me answer my question about relationships between city governments, and citizens in the light of police shooting incidences. So that's how to use CQ Researcher. And you can also, of course, search by keyword. Now, Gale Virtual Reference Library is it's gathered encyclopedias, so they're often a little less recent, but sometimes they can have some other kinds of information. So I'm going to search for well, let's start really broad. Policing. Let's see what we get there. Policing and Latino communities. So that's not perfect for me, but that could be interesting for another topic. Racial profiling and biased policing. That's certainly been in the debate here, so that could be really, really interesting. And you can see here it's like an encyclopedia entry with lots of really interesting information, and it sort of collects some of the research in ways that could be useful to me. So biased policing. I can also search for Black Lives Matter movement. And that you can see these maybe aren't as recent, and this isn't being that helpful for me in that case. So I would want to keep trying and find the right search terms. Okay, so that's how you find the research, and then I'll talk in writing about how to write about the research. Okay, hope this helps.